Hello there, and welcome to the Independent Progressive. Trump's current tariff war with Canada, Mexico, China, and Europe is unfortunately for America the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, Part 2. Here is Smoot, aka Reed Smoot on the left, a Republican senator from Utah. Here is Hawley, aka Willis C. Hawley on the right, a Republican congressman from Oregon. This is President Herbert Hoover. He signed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act into law. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, aka the Tariff Act of 1930, was passed on June 17, 1930, and it raised tariff rates while claiming it was going to protect American businesses and farmers. Sound familiar? To make matters worse, this act was passed during the Great Depression. The end result of the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was making our allies mad, and they responded in kind with tariffs of their own. This meant that imported goods now on average had a 40% tariff on it that would be passed on to the consumer, making those goods too expensive. Combined with companies in America not being able to export their goods because of the retaliatory tariffs in foreign countries. One big clue that starting a tariff war was a disastrous idea was when 1,028 economists wrote a letter to then President Hoover asking him to veto the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. To quote the second paragraph, "We are convinced that increased protective duties would be a mistake. They would operate in general to increase the prices which domestic consumers would have to pay. By raising prices, they would encourage concerns with higher costs to undertake production, thus compelling the consumer to subsidize waste and inefficiency in industry. At the same time, they would force him to pay higher rates of profit to establish firms which enjoy lower production costs. A higher level of protection, such as is contemplated by both the House and Senate bills, would therefore raise the cost of living and injure the great majority of our citizens." This is similar to the Wall Street Journal calling President Trump's tariffs the dumbest trade war in history. Now, to make matters worse, Trump is threatening a 200% tariff on alcoholic drinks from the EU in response to the EU's potential 50% retaliatory tariffs on American whiskey, bourbon, and more after Trump hit the EU with the tariff on their aluminum and steel. All of this is in response to Trump's threat of imposing tariffs on the EU starting on April 2nd. American companies are already suffering from American alcohol being removed off the shelves in Canada. To Canada's retaliatory tariffs to Trump's 25% tariff on steel and aluminum coming from Canada and the EU. American alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink companies need aluminum and steel to make their drinks. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was awful then, and Part 2 is awful now. And this will not end well. However, if people get out and vote in the midterms, the Democrats could get control of the House and Senate and fight back to stop some of this madness. Thanks for watching The Independent Progressive, and take care of yourself. The Independent Progressive.